Go by the Joey Osborne Show. I'm your host, Joey Osborne. For today's episode here, we are going to be doing our fourth NFL mock draft here, and we are now, of course, officially a week away from the NFL draft, and a lot of big news has come up here. I was going to hold off and do this draft week and just only have four, but let's just say a lot of things have changed, a lot more insights have come out in this last week, so we're not going to do five, and we're going to do one this week here. So let's get into it. Let's get this all set up here, and let's get on here. So, with the first overall pick here, Carolina's guy here, we now pretty much know who it is going to be at number one here, and the pick is going to be Bryce Young out of Alabama. Oh, we got to press the start button. It's going to be Bryce Young out of Alabama. He's going number one overall to the Carolina Panthers pretty easily here. Now, this is the interesting spot here with Texas. Now, let's see, they have multiple issues with Stroud and are not really confident in really picking him as the quarterback at number two. I think technically what they should go is Stroud. However, they have multiple issues. One, of course, being that he is Deshaun Watson's. Him and Deshaun Watson are the same agent, and they don't really like that idea. So there is right now rumors that they are going to not go Stroud. And honestly, I think that may be the case here. And with this pick, they are going to go with someone who's a little bit of a surprise here, but they'll be apparently very high on him. But I don't think they're going Stroud just because they just don't like the agent. They have issues with him, and they're worried that it can cause issues for the locker room. So instead, here they're going to go Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech with their second overall pick. Now, I will also say this here. This is what I think they will do. This is not what I would do. What I would do is draft C.J. Stroud number two. But the Texans have multiple issues, and it seems like they are leaning someplace else. And they apparently really like Tyree Wilson. He does have a lot of great potential and has more potential than Will Anderson does, just attribute-wise. But as right now, Will Anderson's the better one. But I think Texas is more thinking about the future. They have a great defensive-minded coach here they got in DeMeco Murray, and they're looking to upgrade probably the defense as well. And honestly, I'll be frank for you, the quarterback class, it's a lot of good big names, but they're not that good. Like, they're big names, but they're not good. Honestly, if Texas wants to be bad for one more year and wait for next year, I think next year is the perfect time to get a quarterback. It's next year's draft. I think they're a lot better next year. That's just me, but that's what I think. That's probably what their rationale is now. But I do think C.J. Stroud would be the obvious pick they should take there. However, they are not going to go with it. And our next up here of Arizona. Now, this is going to be interesting. There have been rumors of them trading down and stuff. But now, I'm going to be honest here. I think they are going to decide here to actually, I think they will also trade down here. I had this happen in my last mock draft. And I'm going to do it again here. But this time, they are going to trade, but with a different team. So they're going to make a trade here. The Colts are going to jump up one spot here. Because they wonder why are they going to jump one spot here? Like, you know, Arizona's not going to pick a quarterback here. But Arizona is mostly going to be trading that pick. That's the problem. And the Raiders are looking a lot like they are willing to make the move there. So it makes a lot of sense here if you're Indianapolis to trade for the pick. So let's see, what can we get to make this work? So they're going to make a trade. They're going to exchange the fourth and the third pick. So it's just be a swap there pretty much. And then also a third round pick with it. And the Colts are going to use this pick to get their guy in C.J. Stroud here. They are going to trade up for Stroud because anyone like, why would you only trade up one spot? The reason they are here is because the Raiders right here at 7 are also willing to trade up, and the Cardinals are willing to trade down. So they are going to do that. Now, and however here, also, I do think there's going to be another trade up here. And I do think right here, Arizona, they could also trade down a little more or not. However, what I'm going to say what they do is they're going to stay at 4. And at 4 here, they're going to go with a place where they now are going to need some decent help here. They're going to go cornerback Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon. They need big help in the secondary now with Budda Baker requesting a trade. I know Budda Baker's a safety, but also losing Byron Murphy. They need some help in the defense, and this is a very good cornerback, and he could be a great guy to have. I think Arizona, that's the place they do strike at. at this point here. But next up here we have Seattle. And Seattle here is going to take Jalen Carter off the board right there. They want to get a face of the defense. They go right there and they get him. That's going to be who gets picked right there at that pick. But next up here we have the Detroit Lions. And the Lions, they're going to get another edge rusher to complement Aiden Hutchinson and Will Anderson Jr. out of Alabama. He is going to be Detroit's move. I would say at first Detroit will look Jalen Carter. However, I think the Seahawks will get him. So then they'll just go the next best option, which is Will Anderson Jr. at Alabama. Great player, and I think he has a lot of great potential here. And now for the 7th overall pick here in the draft, the Las Vegas Raiders are going to go Anthony Richardson, quarterback out of Florida. They're looking for the next great quarterback in the future. Richardson has a lot of great attributes. He could turn into a very good quarterback. The problem is consistency. He needs to become consistent. Here's the thing. If the Raiders can get him to be consistent, it's going to be a very tough ask. But if they can, this guy could become a very good quarterback. I will say that. Now, do I think he will? No, I do not think he will. But he does have the attributes to become one. It's just they have to unlock those attributes and make them, improve them, make them better. And I think that is what they're going to have to do there. But, yeah, I think, now next up, you have the Atlanta Falcons. And Falcons, they can go a lot of places here. But what I think they're going to do, and this is a little bit of a reach, but it's also not. I don't think they need cornerback help now for Kuda there. Running backs, okay, they have a decent running back talent. I don't think it's going to be offensive line, but I do think they are going to make a move here. And they're going to go at edge rusher here, and they're going to go Lucas Van Ness out of Iowa. I think he is the pick there. They need someone to help them out big time defensively, and he helps out big. And next up here, we have the Chicago Bears. Rumors of them have been circulating saying they will trade down. And I do think that is the case right here. I do think they're going to trade down. And I think they're going to trade down with the Steelers. I know the reports for the Steelers are like, if Jalen Carter's there, they'll trade up. However, I think that's a little more smokescreen than anything. I think that is more they're trying to play him a little bit here. So I want to redo that. I don't like that. Let's see. So we go the first and fourth. Then alright. So basically here we're gonna have a trade with the Steelers. They will trade 17. And with this pick right here at 9, they are going to get some big help for the defense. For the offense here. And Paris Johnson Jr. out of Ohio State at offensive tackle, and hopefully fix that hole there. And now next up here with the Philadelphia Eagles, there's been a lot of movement and ideas here, all sorts of places they can go. And what I do think they go right now here is they're going to go here for an area that they definitely need some help with for some now departures in the secondary. They are going to go with Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois. They have some holes in the secondary now. They need some help. I think that's definitely a place they can go. And I think that is probably a good move for them to go at with that pick. But next up here, the Tennessee Titans. And they're going to right here, if they'll pick, they're going to select Will Levis, the quarterback out of Kentucky. There's a lot of things they like about him, just the way he plays and stuff. There's a lot of great attributes there. Same thing with Richardson. Needs consistency, but if developed, can turn out to be a very good one in his hands. So next up here, we have Houston. And with the Texans pick here, they are going to do something here. And I think with this pick, they are going to use it to draft Jackson Smith-Njigba out of Ohio State. So they still get a quarterback. A wide receiver. However, they don't have the quarterback. So I would say here, they're not going to get the quarterback, but Smith-Njigba is kind of a can't-miss prospect. And I think that's where they go right there off the pick. Next up here, with the New York Jets here, I'm going to say here, they're going to be selecting Broderick Jones, the offensive tackle out of Georgia. They need help on the O-line. He helps out big time on the O-line for the most part here. And then now next up here, we have the New England Patriots. A lot of places they can go. I know wide receiver has been talked about, and I think wide receiver is the pick here. And I think of this one here, they are going to be going with a wide receiver, but not the one you expect. I think they're going to go right now here Zay Flowers out of Boston College. He is he's being picked a little high here, I think, but the Patriots really like what he has, and honestly, I do think he is a good fit for them. I think him and Juju should make a good pairing, and this is the year you need to get Mac Jones weapons. Right there, they go and they get him some weapons. So I think that's a good pick here. And next up here, we have the Washington Green Bay Packers. My mistake there. And this pick here, they're going to get more of a young guy here to help succeed an older player here. And with this pick, they're going to draft Peter Skoronczyk, the offensive tackle out of Northwestern with their pick, and help show up a better O-line here in this draft. So next up here, we have the Washington Commanders. And with this pick, I think this is going to be an interesting one to go. But what I think they will actually do here is this is something going to be very interesting. I think here, just with the new regime that's in charge here, they are going to be looking to be more winning, and they are looking probably for someone who can really come in and help lead this team to where it needs to be with this pick. I know cornerbacks and area they've been looking at, and I do think that's where they go here. And what I do think they do here at the cornerback is they are going to go Deonte Banks out of Maryland. I think they're going to go over him than Porter. Porter's really good too, but for some reason, I just think the Commanders are going to do that instead. Now, it's an interesting move, and I do think it's, fairly, interesting to go with, but I do think they're looking for a good cornerback. I think he's one of the better ones in the draft, and he does get more interceptions than Porter. Porter has seemed to have trouble in the past getting interceptions. Deonte Banks does not have that issue, and I think he would be a better fit for the Commanders, thus why he is the pick there. But next up here, we have the Chicago Bears at 17 via the trade from the Steelers, and with this pick here, they're going to go for some defensive help here, and they're going to go Myles Murphy, the edge rusher out of Clemson, with that pick. So next up here, we have the Detroit Lions, and with this pick here, they just got the running back. I don't think they're going to go there. I think they're going to continue on the defensive end of the ball here. And I think what they do here is they're going to draft Joey Porter Jr. out of Penn State with the pick. Get him some more cornerback help right there. Next up here, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Running back's been a big issue for them, so that could be a place they look, but also offensive line. And I think they go offensive line in this pick, and they go Darnell Wright, the offensive tackle out of Tennessee, with that pick and help rebuild that younger O-line there. But next up here, we have, of course, the Seattle Seahawks, and with their pick, they're going to select Nolan Smith, the edge rusher out of Georgia, and get some help for Jalen Carter and reunite him with one of his college teammates, and continue to make that a more dangerous defense to face, because they're trying to rebuild the defensive line. Nolan Smith with Jalen Carter will help out immensely in my mind. But with the 24th overall pick here, the Los Angeles Chargers are going to select Bijan Robinson, the running back out of Texas. I think with all the Austin Ekeler drama and just the way you have Herbert right now, I think the perfect move right here is for them to take Bijan Robinson, because they must be able to trade Ekeler. And honestly, Bijan Robinson is one of the best running back prospects we've seen in a while, and it helps out to an even already insanely dangerous offense. It's just got even worse, because when you want a division of Patrick Mahomes, you got to compete with firepower. Getting this dude gives you a ton of firepower, and I think if they are going to trade Austin Ekeler, right there, Bijan Robinson is the perfect player to replace him with. But next up here, the 22nd overall pick, the Baltimore Ravens here. They are going to look a lot of places, and I think they are going to go wide receiver here. And what they are going to do is they are going to go Quentin Johnston, the wide receiver out of TCU, with the pick at 22. Next up here, we have the Minnesota Vikings. And here with this pick, there's a lot of places they can go, but I think they need a lot of help defensively with this pick. And I think that, especially with now, of course, losing a lot of talent defensively, and I think they're going to go D-line here of Brian Brees. I think that's a good pick. They need help defensively. They go out there and they get some defensive help for the most part. But next up here, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. And with this pick here, I'm going to say they're going to shore up the offensive line. And with the 24th overall pick, they are going to select O'Cyrus Torrence, the interior offensive lineman out of Florida, with that pick. So next up here we have the Giants here. They are going to go wide receiver, and they are going to go Jalen Hyatt, the wide receiver out of Tennessee, with that selection right there. That is, I think Jalen Hyatt is a great prospect wide receiver wise, and he can help out big time. And I think right there, that is where they go. But next up here we have the Dallas Cowboys, and with the 26th overall pick, they are going to select Michael Mayer, the tight end out of Notre Dame. With their selection, they need help tight end wise. They go out there and they get that help at tight end for the most part here. But next up here, we have the Buffalo Bills. A lot of areas they need to look at. Specifically, I think linebacker is a place they can look at. But with this pick here, however, I don't think they're going to go linebacker. I think what they will actually do here is I think they're going to make a little bit of a shocker move here. And they are going to select Jordan Addison, the wide receiver out of USC. They've been having some struggles wide receiver wise. I know they've been looking at D-Hop, but I think Jordan Addison right there was a perfect selection. You go there, you get him, and he can help you out big time as a wide receiver there, and should give Stephon Diggs, some help getting some more space, and he should be a good and valuable number 2 option for Josh Allen right now. And in the future, once Diggs is gone, a definite number 1 wide receiver talent. I think he is one of the best in the draft. It's him and Njigba in my mind. And so I've been very surprised he's been sliding recently, but that he has had some struggles at the combine. But I think right there, Buffalo Bills, Jordan Addison is a perfect pick there. But next up here, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, and with this pick, they're going to get themselves some safety help. It's like Brian Branch, the safety out of Alabama. Because, losing both of their starters, Von Bell and Jesse Bates in free agency, they need the help. Right here, they go and they get the help. And now the New Orleans Saints here now with the 29th pick in the first round of the draft. They are going to do something here. They're going to take quarterback Hendon Hooker out of Tennessee and hopefully get their quarterback of the future there at 29. And with the 30th pick here in the draft, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to select here. Where was he? Let's see. They're going to select. There he is. Sign me from there. Will McDonald IV out of Iowa State. They're going to need some edge rushing help on the young side now. They look to McDonald, and he is hopefully the guy for the future with that pick right there. And now the 34th overall pick in the NFL draft, the Kansas City Chiefs here in this pick will select Anton Harrison, the offensive tackle, Oklahoma. They need big help there at this point, of course, Definitely, they've had a lot of issues now with, Orlando Brown leaving for the Bengals. They need to fill a hole. They did with a perfect selection right there on Anton Harrison. But next up here, the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a lot of places they can go with the 32nd overall pick here. And what I do think they do with this pick is I don't think they go in D-line here. I don't think Concy, as cool as that would be, I don't think Concy will be the pick there. I definitely not tight end. I don't think tight ends will go in here. But I think here it's going to be cornerback, and it's going to be Emmanuel Forbes, the cornerback out of Mississippi State, with that selection. But next up here, we have the Houston Texans, and with their selection right here, they're going to continue to develop some defensive talent, and they're going to take Macy Smith out of Michigan with that pick. But next up here we have Arizona, and their pick here, they are going to invest more in the D-line here, and they're going to select Kaliza Concy out of Pitt with that selection. Next up here we have the Indianapolis Colts, and right here, they're going to go get themselves some cornerback help here after, of course, trading Stephon Gilmore in the offseason, and they're going to select Cam Smith out of South Carolina as their selection. Now next up here we have the Los Angeles Rams. A lot of places they can go. I know cornerback's a place they definitely will look at. However, I think they're going to look more for younger talent, and they're going to go here with the edge rusher, because they need edge rushing help here. I think they go Felix and Duque Uzama out of Kansas State for their selection, because they do need some big help on the defense, especially on the D-line. But next up here, Seattle, they are going to pick here Keely Ringo out of Georgia. I think he is the pick right there. They need some cornerback help and get some, secondary option for, of course, their pick this year who did an exceptional job. So they're going to go and get some more help there. And Akili Wingo is a good place to look at. But next up here we have the Las Vegas Raiders. And with their pick here, they're going to go Dwayne Jones, the offensive tackle out of Ohio State. Get some help for their new quarterback, Anthony Richardson. And hopefully, get someone to pan out here. But next up here we have the Carolina Panthers. And really, there's a lot of places they'd go. I think wide receiver they would try. However, a lot of those options are gone by this point. They're not going to get running back due to just, again, Miles Sanders. I think right here they're going to take Darnell Washington, the tight end out of Georgia, with that selection. Next up here, we have the New Orleans Saints again here. And I think this is going to be an interesting one here. They need edge help. I'm going to go with B.J. Ojulari out of LSU with that selection. Because they lost a lot in fantasy on the D-line. You get some help right there. And if the next selection here, Tennessee is going to do something very shocking here. I think they're going to trade Derrick Henry in the after the draft. But with this selection, they're going to take his success on Jamil Gibbs out of Alabama with the pick here. As they try to rebuild their team with some more younger offensive talent. But next up here, the New York Jets. And with their selection here, they're going to go John Michael Schmitz, the interior linebacker out of Minnesota. Did he get picked here? Yeah, I did. Alright, good. And now they have another selection back-to-back here. And with this one here, they are going to look here at the defense here. And they're going to go Drew Sanders, the linebacker out of Arkansas, with that pick and get themselves some help there. Next up here, Atlanta here. They'll pick at 44. And what they are going to do here is very interesting. But I think they're going to go with wide receiver Josh Downs with the pick here. Continue to build up some more offensive talent and get another great wide receiver there who has a lot of great potential. And hopefully pair him with Drake London to get, some better results. But next up here we have the Green Bay Packers. And with their pick here, I think they're going to go here for tight end. They lost theirs in fantasy. I think they go Dalton Kincaid out of Utah with the selection here. And next up here we have, of course, the New England Patriots. A lot of places they can go. But what I really think they're going to look at here, it's more the edge rusher here. I think the I apologize because I'm going to butcher the name here. Adetomiwa Wabawu. Yeah, I butchered that bad out of Northwestern. He is going to be the pick right there. I apologize for messing that up so bad. It's a tough one. I'm sorry. But here, next up here, we have, of course, the Washington Commanders here. Picking a lot of places they can go. But I think they're going to go into a line here, and they're going to go Steve Vela, the interior lineman out of TCU here with the selection. And, of course, next up here, Detroit. A lot of places they can go. I know definitely tight end is a place they're looking, and I think tight end is one. But I think cornerback could be another, and I think they're going to take a hometown kid here. It worked for them last year. I think they do it again here. DJ Turner, the cornerback out of Michigan, is the selection with Detroit's 48th pick. And with the 49th pick here, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they decided to get themselves some linebacking help here and take Jack Campbell out of Iowa with their pick. But between him and Trenton Simpson, they're both very close. However, the Steelers will decide, I think, to go with Campbell in the end there. But it could go either way if both are there at that time. But with Tampa Bay's next selection here, what they're going to do is, I would like to say linebacker, but I think they're going to have to go more edge rushing, and I think they go Isaiah Foskey out of Notre Dame with their selection. But next up here, we have Miami, and with Miami's pick here, they're going to go running back Zach Charbonnet out of UCLA. They need running back help. They get it right there off that selection there. Next up here, we have Seattle, and with Seattle's pick here, I think they're going offensive line, and I think they're going to go Cody Martz out of North Dakota State with their pick right there. But next up here, the Chicago Bears. Interesting place, but I think they're going to go offensive line, and they're going to go Joe Tipman out of Wisconsin here with the selection. And next up here, we have the Los Angeles Chargers. With their selection here, I think it's all over the place, but I think they're going to go defensive line here with Tuli Tuipulotu out of USC with their pick here. And, of course, now we are looking at of Detroit, another second-round pick here. And with this pick, they're going to go Trenton Simpson, the linebacker out of Clemson. So he falls a little bit, but Detroit does get him here at 55 here. Next up here, Jacksonville, they'll pick. What I think they do here is they're going to get a weapon here, of course, for Trevor Lawrence. And I think that weapon here is going to be Sam Laporta out of Iowa with the pick. Get a nice number 2 tight end. And if things fall through, of course, with, their tight end right now, they can go to Laporta and see what can happen here. Because Ingram has been having some, of course, contract disputes, so we'll see how it goes there. But next up here, we have the New York Giants. Their selection here, I think they're going to go cornerback, and I do think Clark Phillips III out of Utah is the pick at that point here. But next up here, we have Dallas, and Dallas here, their pick, I think definitely is going to be some edge rushing depth here, and I think Derek Hall out of Auburn is their pick right there. So next up here, we have the Bills. At the Bills selection, once again here, I am going to say, I think, honestly, here, this pick is going to be traded here, and it's going to be traded to the Titans. I think, with this pick here, I think the Titans are going to trade Derrick Henry in the draft, and I think he is going to go to Buffalo here, so we can't put players in this, so we're just going to have, of course, the Titans get this pick here, and we'll have them acquire a 5th. Okay, hold on. Let's see what works here. Okay, so that works. So we'll do that. Those are all picks for the next year's draft, so it doesn't matter. For the most part. But, come on. Didn't want to trade there. Alright, give me a sec here. Let me get this to work. There we go. Now it's willing to trade. Alright. But basically, the trade will just be Derrick Henry, and then I think a second comes back Tennessee. A second and probably also a third as well from Buffalo. I don't think a fourth comes back just because Derrick Henry's age. But with this pick here, they are going to go with offensive tackle Matthew Bergeron out of Syracuse. Get some more young offensive help here. But next up here, Cincinnati with the 60th overall pick. They go tight end. They're going to go Luke Musgrave here. They need some help at tight end. They get it right there. So the next up here, Chicago, with their selection here, I think they're going to go get some safety help here, and they're going to go Antonio Johnson out of Texas. Actually, no, they're not. No, I'm taking that back. I think actually they're going to go here with running back Devin Arcane out of Texas A&M with their pick. So now next up here, the Philadelphia Eagles. They are going to select safety Antonio Johnson out of Texas A&M with their pick at 62. Next up here, we have the Kansas City Chiefs, and with their pick here, Kansas City is going to select here. I think they're going to get some edge help here, and they're going to get Keon White out of Georgia Tech with a pick. But next up here, because I will say this here, we're only going to do the first 3 rounds, so we're going to be going on to the final mock draft one I'm going to be doing here after this pick. So let's Chicago here with their pick here. I think they're going to go cornerback Julius Brents out of Kansas State. Get some defensive help with that selection. Next up, the Houston Texans here. What they're going to pick here, I think they're going to go cornerback, and they're going to go Tyreek Stevenson out of Miami. I think they've been looking at him a lot. He could be a good option as number 2 for Derek Stingley and help rebuild your defense there in Houston, because I think that's what they do now. Since they want Bryce Young and they don't want Stroud, I think they build more on the defense in this draft, aside from getting Smith-Njigba at 12. But next up here, we have the Cardinals, and with their pick here, they're going to go... I don't know if they go wide receiver, though. I guess they could. I think they actually are going to go more safety. I think I'm going to have them say they're going to take Jordan Battle and get a replacement here for Buda Baker here for that pick, and it's going to be Jordan Battle, the safety out of Alabama. Next up here, we have the Denver Broncos, and with their selection here, I am going to actually have them take linebacker Dion Henley out of Washington State for their pick. I think that's actually a good suggestion one because they do need defensive help. He is a good pick for Denver right there, and they have another pick here, and I think with another pick here, they are going to definitely go here. Zach Harrison, the edge rusher out of Ohio State. I think he is their pick right there at that spot. But next up here, we have the LA Rams, and I'm going to have them take Siaka Ike, the defensive lineman out of Baylor, Ike with their third-round pick here. Now, next up here, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm going to say they take Gravon Dexter out of Florida the defensive lineman with that pick here. And next up here, of course, we have the Saints again. They're going to go with, I think, an offensive weapon here. I think they're going to go Cedric Tillman, get someone that Hendon Hooker was very familiar with, get him in here and just see what he can do. I think just like Hyatt, he has a lot of talent, and we'll be able to start seeing that and how it affects them in, of course, this season. I think they can turn out to be very good here. And next up here, the Tennessee Titans. What they're going to do here is they are going to, I think, go with this pick, another offense one. They're going to go Marvin Mims out of Oklahoma with their selection. But next up here, we have the Houston Texans. And if they'll pick here, what I think they're going to do here is they're going to look a lot of places, but I think offensive line will be a place. And they're going to go Jalen Duncan out of Maryland with their selection here and get another guy to pair on the other side of Tammy Lunsford here. And I think that's to help them out. But next up here, we got the Cleveland Browns, and there's a lot of places they go, but I think they're going to go here. Defensive line of Keanu Benton out of Wisconsin. They need some defensive line help. He comes in, and he can help, hopefully, fix your issues there. But knowing the Browns, we'll see. We'll see. But next up here, we have the Atlanta Falcons here, and I do think they go cornerback this one, and I think they're going to go Darius Russ out of South Carolina with their selection right here. I think he is the pick at that spot. But next up here are the New England Patriots. And if the Patriots pick here, they are going to, I think, go safety here. And I think Sidney Brown of Illinois is the perfect pick right there that they take. But next up here are the Los Angeles Rams. And this is an interesting one here. I think there's a lot of places they go. But I think they need cornerback help here. And I think they're going to go Garrett Williams out of Syracuse with the pick. But next up here, we have Green Bay. And they are going to go here Tyler Scott, the wide receiver out of Cincinnati. He's got a lot of spectacular speed. They need speed help. They pick him right there and hopefully get some help there. Next up here, we have the Arizona Cardinals. And with their selection here, I'm going to have them take Andre Carter II, the edge rusher out of Army, with their selection. And with the next pick here, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they are going to decide here to fortify the offensive line with their third round pick, and they are going to select Luke Whipple, the center out of Ohio State, and get their center of the future with that third round pick right there. But next up here we have Detroit, and with their selection here, I think I'm going to actually have them take tight end here and Tucker Kraft with the pick. I think they need tight end help. He can come and hopefully help you out there. But next up here we have Tampa Bay, and if they'll pick here, I'm going to have them take Tace Spears, the running back out of Tulane. They need running back help. This guy did very well in college, so we'll see how he adapts to the NFL level, but he could be a good pick at that spot for them. But next up here we have Seattle, and if they'll pick here, they're going to go linebacker here. No, they're not going linebacker. They are going to go, let's see here. Just trying to think where they actually will go. Because they're going to fill a lot of holes here in this draft. They may go wide receiver, actually. I think they may go with Seed Rice out of SMU here of that pick. Because they could look for number 3 wide receiver to help out Lockett and DK Metcalf for that pick. But next up here we have the Miami Dolphins, and they'll pick here. They're going to go offensive line. I think Tyler Steen is a perfect pick right there. Hopefully get some more protection for Tua. He had a little too many concussions last year. You got to get some protection right there. That's someone who can give him some good protection here. Next up here, Los Angeles Chargers. What they'll pick here, I don't think they go offensive line. I think right here they're going to go linebacker, and they're going to go Henry Tuotu. Oh, I think that's how I say his last name. I probably butchered that as well. But he's going to be the pick there for the Chargers. Next up here, we have the Baltimore Ravens, and who they're going to pick here is they're going to get some cornerback help here, and they're going to go Travarius Harts Tomlinson out of TCU with the selection here. Next up here, Minnesota, they're going to go Jonathan Mingo, the wide receiver out of Mississippi, with their pick and get a number 3 guy, and get some wide receiving help other than Justin Jefferson for Kirk Cousins. Next up here, Jacksonville, they'll pick here. I think they're going to go offensive tackle, and they're going to go Blake Freeland. Hopefully just develop this guy for a year or two here, and then hopefully be able to plug him into the starter. I think that's their goal, and that is who they pick, because they, of course, need to protect Trevor Lawrence. They do that with that pick right there. But next up here, we have the the New York Giants, their selection here, I think they also go with wide receiver here. A lot of places they can go wide receiver wise. But I think what they do here is I think they go Nathaniel Dell out of Houston with the pick right there. Get some wide receiving help, hopefully, with that pick. But now Dallas here, if they'll pick, I think what they do is they're going to go Zach Pickens, the defensive lineman out of South Carolina. They need D-line help. Helps fix that for them. Next up here, the Bills. I think they are going to actually take J.L. Skinner here. Hopefully be able to develop this guy as a safety for a couple years here. Just, because they have some great safeties. The problem is they're starting to age up there. So you can plug this guy in, just, of course, get yourself some help there. And have a young guy come in next year, the year after, and be able to help you out there. Next up here, the Cincinnati Bengals. A lot of places they can go, but what I think they do go here is they're going to go with a running back, and they're going to go Tank Bixby out of Auburn with their pick there, due to a lot of the issues right now with Joe Mixon. I think that's a guy that can start on the bench, develop for a year, and then hopefully, possibly have him as a starter. I don't know if he will actually turn out to be that good, but he can be a good number 2 guy, hopefully. And hopefully be able to fill the role P-Wine had last season for the Bengals. For the next pick here, the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to say they're going to take Byron Young, the edge rusher out of Tennessee, with their selection, and get some edge rushing depth here with the pick. Next up here, we have Philadelphia. And I think Philadelphia here, they're going to take someone to develop. And they're going to take Zach Evans, the running back out of Mississippi, with that pick there. And hopefully develop a running back with that pick. Next up here, the Kansas City Chiefs, with their pick here. They love their wide receivers. And you know what? I think they go with one here in A.T. Perry with their pick. They love developing wide receivers, and I think that's a good one for them to get here. Next up here, we have Arizona, and if they'll pick here, I think, once again, here, they're going to try to develop some more safeties, and they're going to go Chris Smith II out of Georgia with their pick. Next up here, we have Washington, and if they're third round pick, they're going to go cornerback again, and they're going to go Eli Ricks out of Alabama with that pick. Next up here, the Cleveland Browns, and with the Browns pick here, I think they go with a backup running back here to be a second fiddle to Chubb here, and hopefully give them, basically fill what Kareem Hunt did for them in Roschon Johnson out of Texas. He is very talented, but he was overshadowed a lot by Bijan Robinson. But I think this is a guy who can turn into being a decent number 2 guy, and I think he could be a good complement to Nick Chubb in that offense. So I'm going to go with him with that pick. Next up, you have San Francisco, and with their pick here, they are going to go cornerback Kai Blue Kelly with their selection right there. But next up here, the Las Vegas Raiders. A lot of places they can go, but I think they're going to go linebacker here, and they're going to go Nick Holberg out of Wisconsin with the pick. So, Holberg will not be playing with his brother on the Steelers, but he will get a nice third-round pick selection here with the Vegas Raiders, and I think he can be a person who can come in there and help him out decently here. But next up here, we have the San Francisco 49ers, and they'll pick here. I think they go Dahil Brown out of Penn State, the safety. I think that's the pick there. And then here, once again, they're going to pick another guy here. They're going to pick another safety. And they're going to go with Jamie Robin. They're going to go with Jatavius Martin out of Illinois with the pick there. Next up here is Chicago. And if this selection here, I think they go D-line, get some help. And they're going to go Jaquin Roy out of LSU with the pick. And that will do it here for the 4.0 mock draft. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. And tune in for more. And thank you guys for watching. Have a good day.